Dave received his orders to fly a helicopter in Vietnam, and a year had gone by. They went for 13-month tours, and he was ready to come home in a month when I received the news that his plane had been shot down and that he had died in Vietnam. And I got on the plane several days later to go home, and as I was changing planes in Los Angeles from San Diego, I noticed a girl sitting on the bus, and I was just drawn to her, and I felt like I just should share Christ with her. And she got off one stop before I was going to get off, and I thought, that's really strange, because I really felt like the Lord wanted me to talk to her, but maybe he just wants me to pray for her. So I got to my plane area, my terminal, and a few minutes later I saw her walking in. And I went up to her, and she said, well, I got off the bus too soon, at the wrong terminal. And I said, this may sound really strange, but I just feel that I need to talk to you now. And I said, I'm on my way home because my husband just died in Vietnam. And I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I'm drawn to you for some reason. And she said, actually, I'm going home too. She said, I'm coming from Northern California. I married my husband a year ago, and he was really abusive to me, and I'm pregnant, and I was so afraid that he would hurt my child that I decided to go back home. And I called my mother, who I hadn't had much contact with, and she said, come right away. And I said, I feel like there's something I want to share with you that the Lord has shown me. And I shared the 4 spiritual laws with her, and she invited Christ into her life. And we talked for about another half an hour, and then we had to get on our different planes. And I got home to Illinois, and about a week later, I received a letter in the mail, and it was from her mother. And she said, don't tell Nita that I'm writing you. But when she called me and said she was coming home, I prayed that there would be someone who would share the gospel with her on her way home. And we continued in the relationship that we had for several years writing, and she started going to church there, and she had her baby, and it was just really wonderful to see how God worked in her life. In the summer after my husband died, Jim and I met at Arrowhead Springs and became friends, and then started to fall in love. And I was so amazed that God would lead me to another person to be part of my life. And Jim and I were going to get married. All the girls there gave me a teacup to remember them by. And I shared that in a newsletter that she got, and a package arrived in the mail, and it was a little teacup from Nita. And she said, well, I'm one of your girls too. And so she sent that teacup to me to be part of that. And I thought, isn't that amazing that God had a grieving widow in San Diego and a girl who was running away from her husband meet in Los Angeles and have an hour together before we went our separate ways, because he wanted her to know Christ.